Bitcoin just had one of the biggest weeks, largest weeks that we've ever seen in history, a range of nearly 20,000 bucks. And on Friday's video, we're saying, hey, this one looks pretty damn beat up right here. Very likely a bounce to open up in early March. We are now in early March, and a bounce is certainly underway. Got a nice little red circle right here, which it looks like price action has come just to a little bit of a wick higher, but that's okay. So this move, let's kind of go over, what it was. I mean, this move was propelled by, of course, a fucking tweet, a Trump tweet. And anytime that a move is, kind of predicated upon some sort of an event, I'm always going to be skeptical. And in fact, this area was the perfect area for some skepticism, because that is where you would expect a lower high if this thing is indeed going to come back down again. So with Bitcoin coming down about 3,000 bucks from the high of yesterday to at least where we're at right now, I do look at this as actually the more likely thing to play out. Now, I wanted to highlight a post here on Twitter because I thought it was super interesting and pretty much aligns with what I understand, at least, about the U.S. system. And Arthur Hayes, Crypto Haynes, if you don't know him, he was the former founder of, I believe, BitMEX, and he makes a comment on this saying, "Nothing new here, just words. Let me know when you get congressional approval to borrow money and/or reevaluate the gold price higher. Without that, they have no money to buy Bitcoin and shitcoins," which is very interesting to see a lot of those shitcoins, listed in that basket of currencies, of those crypto assets, let's say. So, I'm very much on the same page here, and I did want to go through a few things because while I don't think that Bitcoin is necessarily ready for any sort of major upside from here, to new all-time highs and shit like that, I do think that the greater picture is really starting to materialistically change. So first and foremost, let's go over the relevance of this region. First off, I mean, the most obvious thing is it did hit the green 55 exponential moving average. We are in a bearish posturing, a silver cross to the downside right here as it stands right now. So again, this is your traditional area for a lower high. I suspect it also aligns quite well with very likely a major fib. And you can see that Bitcoin is kind of dancing around the 50% retracement level right here. Did close above it yesterday, but I'd be looking at the 618 at about 96,500 bucks is very much relevant for maintaining my bias that Bitcoin does have, another try to the downside. Does it make a new low on that try to the downside? I don't know, but another try to the downside could easily bring Bitcoin back down to the new CME gap, which is in the low $80,000 territory. So just like coming into last Friday, I said, hey, the next move very, very likely is a bounce. I would say now in the short term, the next move between now and the crypto conference at the end of the week is very likely a try to the downside. But like I said, that's not a full breakdown, or at least I wouldn't be saying it's going to be like a complete breakdown to new lows just yet. But as it stands right now, I did also want to go over the 6-hour time frame, because the 6-hour time frame is confirming a local high right here. And as it is confirming a local high, we do see that there is potential for a hidden bearish divergence to confirm upon this next closure. If it closes anywhere below, it's called 91.7, then that will certainly be confirmed. And again, this is the double extreme BBWP read right here. So on the shorter term timeframes, again, very likely to see some mean reversion. I suspect that we will see Bitcoin back down to 89 or 90,000 bucks. Not like a huge move, but compared to what we got for the majority of February, it certainly is. So I'm just working with what we got right here. That's all. But yeah, that is available. And then on top of that, I wanted to go over some stochastic momentum, because nothing's changed here as far as the higher term timeframes go. This still makes me skeptical as to the probability of this current move continuing to the upside. I think it's much more likely to come down at least a little bit. So here's your 5-day timeframe. Stochastic momentum is nosediving as long as Bitcoin's below 106,500. The 10-day timeframe also going to be showing downside as long as Bitcoin's below 97,300. This is on CME, by the way. So if Bitcoin spot did start to close above 96,500, which is my sort of I'm wrong reversal point, I suppose. then I think that this one would be met as well, this pivot at least. The weekly time frame also showing downside as long as Bitcoin's below 105. The bi-weekly time frame, which just closed last night, by the way, also showing downside as long as Bitcoin's below 100. And the monthly, as we already know, is also showing downside as long as Bitcoin's below 102. So, all of these things do make me a lot more skeptical as to the likelihood of this current move continuing in the upside direction. And what I wanted to actually highlight is kind of a more experimental thing right here. So if you notice on the top pane, I do have our indicator, the Joule, listed right here. And it's in a very interesting spot that we've actually seen many times historically. I'm talking about with the fast moving oscillator, this bluish cyan one, very low, like certainly below 30, but even below 25. I mean, in this case, it's like pretty fucking beat up there. With, more importantly, that green sort of background that you see. That's a signal that I'm going to be showing you in a moment. So remember that signature right there. Let's go back to the last few times we've seen this signature, and I think you'll start to really understand very quickly kind of where we're at. So we have one right here. Let's just actually blindly go through it first, and then, and then you can see for yourself. And as always, I mean, it's good to see for yourself. Like, make your own fucking decisions. Just because I think some doesn't mean that you need to think some, of course. But going further back, I am going to try to find at least the last 5 years of price action, going back to 2020. Let's see, no signals here. Yep, we got some here. So let's mark these off, and then we'll just see once we unravel the chart, where things were at during these times. All right, that brings us back to 2019. So I think we're good enough in this case. So I'm just going to span through all of these different ones, and you can see that in the greater picture, these were very close to major lows. In fact, the Corona dump right here, like, that was the only one that actually did not retest and make a slightly new low. But you can see in this iteration, boom, comes back down. Yes, it was a major low. Yes, it was a big rally, but it did come lower after that initial signal. Same shit over here. We see this signal fire off. Bitcoin gets in a nice immediate boost to the upside, does come back down, make a slightly new low, and then has the big rally. This one, like I said, this is probably like the perfect example of it, where it just went up. Fair enough. But as we go through things, you'll notice that is not the most likely thing to be happening. Same thing over here. This one firing off with a pretty big move to the upside after that, but that failed to materialize into an actual reversal and did come back down and retest around that low. Yes, put in an even greater rally later on. But yeah, that again does suggest that we're probably going to see a retest around the current lows. Maybe it's slightly higher than the current low, maybe it's slightly below the current low, but I do like it as a major low. In this case, this particular iteration, didn't just like retest around the low. It did make new lows. That was during a bear market after all. And this one over here in 2022, again, same thing, comes back down around that low, then has the big bounce. Then we have a few, or do we have any? Yeah, we have a few iterations of this in the current bull market. So this one right here from August 2023, again, happening at this level. Bitcoin does come down and make a slightly new low, but that was very close to the price low before having a major move to the upside. And then I think something a little bit more, oh no, that was literally the last time that we've seen it in the past couple of years. So in this case, I am remiss to say that I don't think that this is the current move that is happening right now. I don't think that this is the one that reverses things. I do think Bitcoin is more likely to put in a local high here, come back down, test somewhere around where the CME gap is, which is actually for CME, it's like mid 80s. So fair enough. A lot higher than what you would have expected on spot. Anywhere between there and the white moving average, which is the 200 simple moving average, would be probably good enough for me. I mean, if Bitcoin even closed down around there as well, that would offer up what I'm looking for to call a low, which is bullish divergence alongside our other signal that we've been monitoring, which is the hash ribbons. In fact, let's just go over that right now. So again, I need to see, I don't necessarily need to see bullish divergence, but it certainly help. But I certainly need to see this before I look for any sort of new all-time high run. And as it stands right now, the hash ribbons indicator continues to diverge from the signal line. The signal line is the gray line right here, and the plot line, or the one that we're interested in, is the red line. You can see that they were very, very close to crossing about 1 week ago. However, they did not, and it ran away really fucking fast. So until we get that blue buy signal, I'm just going to be skeptical here. Again, you don't have to adopt the same exact views as me. I'm just offering up what I'm looking at. Use that for better or worse. Don't use it at all. You need to decide for yourself if that applies to you. But these are just things that I think deserve some recognition. So we've got that. Yep, CME gap lower. But yes. Okay, so there's one thing that I've been saying over the past week since this dump happened, the dump that brought Bitcoin from about 96 to 77. And it was this. I was saying that I believe that the market is done for a while, not necessarily meaning like significant downside, although I am certainly open to it, low 70s at least, if that is going to happen, or basically if the current lows fail. But I'm going to be wrong on the idea that Bitcoin doesn't get a big move, that Bitcoin does not get a big move for the next few months. Why do I say that? Because I neglected looking at the monthly BBWP and also the weekly BBWP. The monthly BBWP is at extreme lows compared to what we have seen historically. These have all preceded major moves, both the upside and the downside. Volatility is direction neutral, but that does suggest that, what I was saying priorly, that Bitcoin is likely to, create a sideways range for the next few months is very, very wrong. So in this case, we can see the last few times was before this mega rally from, $25,000 to $73,000. We can see the time before that was back here before this mega rally from 10,000 to 65,000. And the time before that was before this absolute fucking face melting rally from, 350 to $20,000. So, fair enough. On top of that, the weekly time frame is seeing volatility also at the extreme lows here. So I just don't think it's going to stay down there for like that much longer, maybe another month, maybe until the end of this month of March, but I don't think it's going to be multiple months. I do think that we see a real range break. I think long term is going to be to the upside, but a real range break certainly before the end of the first half, but I would say between now and the end of the month is what I think would be likely based upon that, and hopefully comes to the upside. perhaps hoping and wishing it, not the best plan, but yeah. Anyways, just wrapping up my thoughts here. Again, Bitcoin bounce. We're looking for a bounce. However, it is at the literal place that you'd be looking for on a proverbial bull trap. For it to pull back, I do think it's very, very likely. 6-hour time frame showing hidden bearish divergence alongside double extremes on BBWP. So, at least a little bit of a short-term pullback. It doesn't materialize into a full coughing up of yesterday's rally. Probably not today, but maybe by the crypto event. I mean, a lot of the time these things are sell the news events. And from there, I'm open to a lot of things right here. Does Bitcoin try for a low at low 80s after filling the gap? Does it make a slightly new low somewhere around, low 70s? Both of these things I'm very much open to, but I'd be looking at these as opportunities much more long term, especially with those volatility reads. I do think that the long term is actually still weighted towards the upside. So anyways, that's where we'll end things for today. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and if you find this content valuable, consider like and subscribing. Until next time.